friends, and welcome to Make It Monday with Littlerebelwonders. I'm Sara, and today I'm going to show you guys step by step how I make my Happy Birthday Harry cake boxes. All of the supplies and tools needed to make this cake box are going to be linked down below in the Magical Crafts and Tools Amazon storefront link. If you want to go out and make this cake box today, I would suggest either going to your local craft store, whether that be a Michael's or Walmart. I like going to Hobby Lobby, it's close by. The box itself is a cylinder wood box that has a small magnetic closure on it and a hinge on the back. I get all of my supplies from Hobby Lobby, and a box costs me $8.99. Make sure to go to Hobby Lobby when they have their wood crafts on 40% off. They do it bi-weekly, so you'll have to check on their website when these boxes go on coupon. I also use clay, air dry clay from Hobby Lobby. You can find this on Amazon. It's linked below in that Magical Crafts and Tools list on my Amazon storefront. It's called Nara clay. It's air hardening clay. This is the perfect clay that I found that resembles frosting, and as it dries, it doesn't crack, which is great because it looks so cake-like, and it's really lightweight once it dries, so having a cake box, it doesn't make it too heavy. I use Anita's all-purpose acrylic paint to paint my cake that really bright, happy pink color. I either use tulip or puffy 3D paint. They're both in the color green. Let's get started making our Happy Birthday Harry cake box. Let's get started with all of our supplies. You're gonna need a round wooden box. I buy mine at Hobby Lobby. You're gonna need air dry clay. I prefer the Nara brand. Any type of acrylic paint in the color pink, and then some type of puffy paint in the color green. First step is using a small round bit of the air dry clay. You're going to push the clay in a kind of sweeping motion onto the box. Pretend you are icing a cake and you have big old giant hands. I like to use my thumb to kind of guide the clay onto the box. And remember, this is supposed to look like a cake, so you want this not to be perfect. Try to avoid covering over the hinge on the first go around as well. You want to make sure if you buy a box from Hobby Lobby, that hinge, I prefer to put epoxy over it just so it stays really nicely. But continue with that air dry clay. Once you're done with the edge of the lid, go around the edge of the cake box. I like to kind of go in rows almost, and then with my clay, I'll go in between the frosting like strips that I've made. And I really only work with a small amount of clay at a time, otherwise it's just too much to hold in my hand. And this clay, the Nara clay, is really nice. It's super malleable and doesn't get sticky, and it doesn't crack when it dries. Once you've finished putting the clay on the outside of the box, you're going to focus on the lid. I will take the clay in a kind of sweeping snake-like motion on the top of the lid to make it look like, you just spread a bunch of frosting. And then using some type of pointed utensil, here I'm using a paintbrush, I make a line in the top of the cake to resemble the crack. When you've finished getting all the clay how you like, make sure to let this dry overnight or at least for 12 hours before moving on to the next step. Next is paint. I am very generous with the amount of paint that I put on these boxes because I don't enjoy going back to fix all the white spots, though usually I have to do it 2 or 3 times as the paint and the clay dries. Sometimes there's little white spots that I will notice as I turn the cake all sorts of directions. Focus on getting the outside of the box painted first, let it dry, and then you can move on to puffy paint. I would suggest looking at a picture of the actual cake, tracing it out on paper, and then before using the paint on your box, write it on with pencil or something really light. If you make a mistake with the puffy paint, let it dry completely and then peel it off. You will have to repaint the spot that you peeled it off from, but it will not smear if you do it this way. After you have your lettering and everything the way you like it, the inside is painted, the bottom is painted, spray it with a seal spray. I use this one from Rust-Oleum. It's a satin clear enamel finish. And then once everything is all sprayed and sealed, you're going to cut a square piece of felt in a circle to fit on the inside of your cake box. I use epoxy E6000 to glue it in there. You could probably use any sort of glue. That's it. This is what the cake is going to look like when it's all finished. I am so in love with how these turn out, from the misspelling to the crack that we put in. It's a great little trinket box for jewelry or other special treasures. I hope you had so much fun making this with me. I can't wait to see what you make. I hope you had fun making this. Thanks so much for following along. Stay magical. Bye.